following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bizbb-radio.com.
Hello there. Welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome to another episode of the 716th Attack Legion podcast.
Hello there, and welcome back to the 716th Attack Legion podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Episode 7 of Ahsoka, Dreams and Madness. Once again, it's myself, Christian, and we're joined by Jordan, Julian, and Jack.
And your dad.
Oh, yeah, and Rich is behind the camera, as per usual. I was told minutes ago I was going to host this.
What an episode.
I don't know. I think it was a little bit. Well, we'll get into it. What's everyone's overall thoughts on the episode?
It was one of the tamer episodes, but I think
it was one of the tamer episodes of the season, but I don't think there's anything bad about it.
No. I think everybody in this show has been perfect.
Ezra, I think, is somehow. I thought Ahsoka's performance is pretty good, and I think now that she's a little bit lighter, it's like probably spot on.
Yeah.
To what the fans kind of want. Although I think she was doing people complained about how stoic she is a little bit, but that's what she is in Rebels, and at that point, if we're being honest.
She's supposed to. She's not supposed to be like the goofy person that she was.
I think that Ashley's take on the character is just a bit lighter overall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know
she was younger.
Yeah, and I think the energy that Rosario Dawson brings to it is a little bit more of a tamer sort of vibe, but I still they feel like the same character. It's not
exactly.
But I can understand where the criticism was coming from by saying oh, she's a lot more stoic, or she's a lot more this. And I think it's just because of the different actors, but I think the principle of what they're supposed to be is there.
But I'll give Filoni credit because he kind of foresaw that people were because I think that same criticism came to the Mando episode a little bit, and to even the one appearance of Boba Fett as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know, he kind of accounted for that, and they did the Gandalf rebirth thing that he's kind of been hinting at for years, and they've kind of used that to kind of bring her slightly back more to the. The Jedi, the younger character she was in the Clone Wars when she was Anakin.
And well, my friends, that's called character development.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No one ever in Star Wars ever does that.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say that this episode was tame, but it was also really good. We got a lot of really, really neat things.
I rather enjoyed the intro, actually.
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of my favorite part.
I made a joke about it in an earlier, when Hera was called back to Coruscant. I was like, the next episode's gonna be them in bureaucracy, and Miranda was like, I hope not. But that scene was actually really good. I thought that was a very well done scene.
Yeah,
I like that they didn't drag that out.
My prediction was going to be very similar to the previous episode, where we would see a couple things back at the very beginning, and then we wouldn't see it again. They seem to do that in a lot of these shows. They'll do that first little sequence just to give you a taste of what's going on with those other characters that are somewhere else. Then they move on. I mean, to be honest, for me, mention of Princess Leia and C-3PO spot on. And Christian said this that it's not the obnoxious C-3PO. It's the kind of really good C-3PO. He's back to the C-3PO that
he's when Senate aide to the senator Padme, but in Senator Leia this time.
He's not whiny.
So
constantly complaining. Yeah, he's being
I mean,
and also the politics that they played with. They're doing Xiono as kind of a stand-in. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off as well. That senator is kind of a stand-in for that one Bothan senator from Legends, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Xiono. The new guy. I forget
I'm trying to remember the
guy
guy's
from Legends' name.
I brought my source material.
I think it's so cool.
The direct source.
I think it's so cool
Primary
that Luke
source.
and Leia ended up with their parents' droids.
That is nice. That is a fun touch of Star Wars.
I like that TikTok.
Until the next movies.
That TikTok that talks about how the trading of those droids were really the most significant.
Yeah, that was their wedding. Their wedding rings.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it like that.
Oh my God, I never thought about it like that. wow, that's honestly like.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, holy crap! That
Because it was
makes
a
lot
way.
of sense.
It was a way for them to say, I'm yours, mine, whatever. Because nobody and still be like discreet about it. Because they in a world of such a universe of such vastness.
In a world.
It's free real estate.
But yeah, in terms of bringing it back to the character portrayals, real quick. Unless you want to.
I was just gonna say it was just nobody's gonna notice droids.
Yeah.
So it's significant, and then both the kids end up with it. It shows the reuniting of everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
But yeah, to bring it back to the portrayals though, Ezra's portrayal is particularly good. I think I was impressed with Ahsoka's and with. Especially Sabine's. I thought Sabine's was spot on, and it has been. But the guy playing Ezra is Fondy or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Like that's what older Ezra, like everyone imagined he would be. Like,
well, he's still like lighthearted and still has that sort of childish attitude,
With a bit of
even
edge.
though he's older.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need
And-
my lightsaber. You keep it. You've been
Yeah,
using it more
yeah,
than me.
he's
Like,
just
it's-
kind of
I got
like-
the Force, man. Like, it was just
Force
kind of,
is my
it wasn't
ally.
like, oh, I've been trapped on a planet for 10 years. Like, there was no, like...
They didn't make him like Luke or Yoda.
Right.
It was just
Like-
very
I
like.
cut myself off from the Force.
Yeah, no, she sort of gets there and he goes, "Oh hey," like they're.
Well, it's about time.
I think like he.
for last. Okay.
I don't know. I think it just feels right. Like it's not. I'm not.
say, yeah.
When you bring a character like that into live action, there's a lot of worries, especially like they did the same thing with Ahsoka. That the worry is that they're just not going to be able to find someone who can do it, and they've nailed it.
Yeah.
I never had any doubt in Dave Filoni.
The only thing that I'm kind of like perturbed about for this series is that I think they yada past Ahsoka and like Sabine's like what the fuck happened there, like very quickly.
I think it was very, very subtly touched upon.
No, I think
in
we
the
can
World
get it.
Between Worlds
Yeah.
episode
Mhm.
when like Anakin's like, I feel like it was a very hard decision because when they're talking like, do you even want an apprentice? It's not all chalked up to be. And then Ahsoka's like, if my legacy is the same as your legacy, won't I just end it in destruction and devastation?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that was kind of I don't want to train Sabine if she's just gonna end up like
Anakin.
Like
Which
Anakin.
I agreed with, but I think I was weird that and I think we can get that. I'm not more talking about that. I'm more talking about like how in the first place, like like he was like, I'm gonna train you. Like I feel like that should have been touched upon. That's a lot to fill in. Because even to like because imagine like all the like the casuals who haven't watched Rebels, they probably think that like Ahsoka and Sabine, that was like a thing that we watched from Rebels. You know what I mean? Like the people were probably just assuming that was a thing that happened on screen that they have to go back and watch.
Yeah, they
but
really
it's not.
have-
It's not. It happened completely in the middle.
I guess
Like,
yeah, I do. Yeah, I really do agree with you. Like they did just almost completely blow over like everything that they've been through.
Yeah, and maybe they'll
And
explain
it
it
also-
now that Ezra's here, and they have to explain it to Ezra, so that'll give an excuse to the audience to get it.
Yeah,
so
that's
there's one more
probably-
episode. So,
But
and-
I do want to touch
Yeah.
on it. Did like I think we will get a little bit more of like a reunion almost between them in the next episode, and they're going to sit down and they're going to explain what's going on.
yeah,
Because they did just sort of. I mean,
yeah. Ezra's
Ahsoka
not
just sort of
completely clued in
arrives
yet.
and starts fucking people up, and then they all just fight, and then that's the end. So I definitely think we will get like a more in-depth,
Yeah, but yeah, anyway, we had some discussion topics we wanted to talk
Yeah.
about. Now, what do you think Baylan is seeking? Now, he's like to the point where he like kind of shooed. He's like, "Go away, Shin.
Yeah.
Go do your thing." Like,
Be on with you.
and what did he say to her? Something like, "You have too much like something in
Your
you." Like,
path is focused in one direction, mine's in a different one, or something close to
yeah, I
that.
think he just feels like she's already like slipping more to because she feels like she's already on like a Sith type trajectory. If that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the other thing is in that conversation with her, it's just in the way he said things and sort of the very specific phrasing of like, you're on a different path than me. I think it's like,
Yeah.
you go fight them because if they're going to kill anybody, it should be you, not me. I think he's just kind of like sending her to die because he's just kind of over it. She helped him get to where he needs to be now, and now she's almost useless to him.
Yeah, it's like the power she's after is just kind of simple power that she can achieve, like with Thrawn, maybe if like he decides to take her in. But even though Thrawn doesn't care about them either, but they don't know that yet.
I rewatched the episode, and there's definitely because I don't think he's sending her to die.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that he's like, you can die. Like, I'm not gonna like be upset if you do.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, contact Thrawn and tell him that you found Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be like, they'll accept you into the new empire, and that's where you'll gain your power.
And he did kind of go back with the stormtroopers. She went back with the stormtroopers.
Yeah, she left with them. I'm on my own kind of trajectory, finding whatever power it is that is out here.
And I guess that's the crux. What is that power? I don't think there's been too many like clues dropped. I really don't. I know there's a lot of theories out there.
There's a lot of theories.
I think most of them are missing the mark pretty substantially.
I think that there's like a 1% chance that it could be Abeloth. Like,
yeah,
it's not high at all.
It's not very high.
I do think that it will be something from, or if not inspired by Legends, because that's what Dave Filoni is really pulls from when he's making his stuff.
Yeah, there's like some candidates because there's like Zepho, which like could be. And
yeah,
there is
the
a
writing,
lot of, like,
the writing
there is
behind
some Fallen
them on the
Order,
temple is
like,
Zepho.
and those games have had like a very substantial pop culture impact, even some more so than some of the Disney Plus shows they've made. I would say. And like you can even tell with like even the first episode, it was kind of very Fallen Ordery when the first temple she goes to. Even some of the wall kind of like architecture at one point, like someone did like a side by side with like a point in one of the Zepho temples. From the first game.
And I said
it's like
that
the same type of like writing on the wall.
I said that in the first react. I was like, that looks like Zepho.
Yeah,
you know. And then I saw a thing online about 2 days ago, and it's the writing on the temple from the last episode.
Similar, yeah.
No, it's not similar. It's the same language. It's the same writing from the Fallen Order.
I thought it looked a little bit
And the Zepho
different.
and Night
I mean, it
Sisters are already
probably
kind of
looks
linked,
different because
so-
it's different words, but it's
assume
the
so.
same
Well, the
language.
temple was on. The Zepho had a temple on Dathomir,
Dathomir.
so maybe there's some reason why they.
Yeah, so
That's-
maybe
yeah.
they
There's a
they
connection there.
made that there or whatever, but the writing is the same. There's a side by side. There's literally a side by side image between the Fallen Order game and this.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
the
the
shot
so
from
for
the
folks
film.
like me that don't know what you're talking about,
Oh yeah, the
yeah,
Zepho.
explain that to the audience that quickly, like what that is, because not everybody listening to the podcast or watching the podcast knows what that is. I certainly don't.
So the Zepho are an ancient
Force sensitive.
race in the
Yeah.
Star Wars universe.
They're like
race.
giant too.
They're like skyscraper tall.
Are they?
They're huge.
When you meet one in Fallen, like in that vision, they're huge.
Is that just not like the? I don't
No,
know.
if you
I
look at the
figured that was
tombs,
the
the
canon.
tombs,
The tombs are all really big.
where they're in the crypt. He's in the chamber, and it's in the ground, and it's like 14, 15 feet tall.
Anyway, they're
Okay. So
these
okay,
massive
they're that height. I see.
force beings that like
They use the Force way before the Republic. Like I'd say
before there were
the High
Jedi.
Republic.
We think that's what the
kind of.
tech in that one Bad Batch episode that Julian hasn't seen is yet, which that's not a surprise.
And I think it's just like. So that's what we mean by the Zepho, and it's really in depth explained in the first Fallen Order game, and then they bring it back again in Survivor. Not as high or as intense, but they bring it back again. And the writing, if you play the Fallen Order game, when you're
Which
there,
we recommend you do.
There's a planet. What planet do they go to? Is it Zepho? Like the planet is Zepho? So if you go to the planet Zepho, you go and you see one of these tombs, and on the wall is this very, very, very like intricate dialect that's written on the wall,
And not Arabesh.
No, but it's not Arkbesh. It's a different. It's a different language, and in the Ahsoka show, in the not this most recent episode, but the last episode, when they're standing outside of the temple watching Shin and Baylan drive away on their little speeders, on the wall behind them is the exact same language. So that's what we're talking about. And so so I saw this side by side, and it obviously is different because it's different words. Like they're probably saying different messages, but it's the same language. So, and I like that's really cool that Dave Filoni is just like, let me get everything so that a little bit of everybody gets pleased.
Dave did give us our first BD, like live action BD unit in
Mando.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So it was in the book.
Oh,
of
it was
Boba
Boba Fett, yeah.
episode. So I could see him bringing in more stuff from the Fallen Order games.
So what we're hearing is when they get back to the regular galaxy, Cal Kestis is there in the
Yeah,
next
I
episode.
I think
Cal
Cal
Kestis.
Kestis is gonna die in the next game.
You think
Oh
so?
yeah, maybe.
I think he's too rebel to not have been around.
Was anybody else kind of very mildly bothered that that you played as Seer a little bit?
No,
No,
I like
not
that
at all.
Probably.
I don't know. I was
wasn't bad.
kind
I
of,
like that
I was,
part.
I
It was
was
a little
kind of just
weird.
like,
It was
nah.
slightly jarring, but I thought like it worked out.
They made Darth Vader really easy to beat when
Seer's also,
you
like,
play
hella
her.
Strong.
Yeah.
Keep in mind,
Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off
You have to
topic,
keep
but
in
it
mind,
just
some of the
made me
Jedi
think about
that,
it.
like some of the Jedi that like survived Order 66, rather like there was a variety. Some of them like became like Obi-Wan and kind of like fell away. But there were others. Well, obviously that's new canon for Obi-Wan, but whatever. But there's other guys that kind of became like very, very like connected and like empowered with the Force, like by like the end of like Ben Kenobi from Obi-Wan, or like I guess a good example would be like it's like this is Legends now, but like Shakti, like when she fights like Starkiller, like that version of Shakti.
Well, yeah, no, she's definitely dead.
But like even Vader, there's a bunch of Jedi that like very much fuck up Vader. Like what he fights them. Like
Even
Vader
in-
gets
when
screwed
does
up
she-
quite a bit
even
in the
in
comics
Vader's
that he's in.
comic,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the
Like, when
comics, he gets
has to
screwed
go
up.
retrieve his kyber crystal. He gets messed up.
There's that
Yeah,
one
like
guy with
he
that shirt
integrates-
on who like floats and stuff.
yeah.
That's really
I
weird.
forget his name.
Yeah, you can go.
Sorry, we're kind of getting off the
Oh yeah, we're off the
track
Baylan
here.
topic. Yeah.
and like they kind of got an answer. I kind of guess. I don't know.
Well, that's just
did
kinda
you
one
like?
option.
Did you?
We didn't necessarily
I
answer
don't think that
what.
there's one specific thing that it's gonna be. Like I don't think any of us know what it is. I think it's gonna be something either pulled from or inspired from canon.
I would say
Legends.
inspired by. I have a very strong feeling that when he finds this thing, if he finds this thing, it's going to be something brand new that we've never seen before. That's very heavily inspired by something from Legends.
Yes.
But I don't think Dave Filoni is going to be like I understand the Abeloth theory and all that sort of stuff,
assume-
but I really don't think he's not just going to be like, hey.
But
here's
he's
Abeloth.
big.
Like,
He's
just
big
don't
into the
think he'll-
Mortis arc.
I also have.
Yeah,
a,
I know he's
Abeloth-
big into the Mortis
Abeloth's
arc, but he
not
kind of
Mortis.
did that like three times already.
It's the mother of the two.
Yeah, she was
We've done
mortal
that
though,
twice
where they
now.
were Celestials. That's part of the problem.
I also
I
have
don't-
Darth
I don't-
I don't
Malgus
think
as
it's
a
I just
possibility.
don't think it's. I don't think it's any
Okay,
dark
so
side.
that's where I was going with this. Is that it was an ancient Sith, like an old Republic Sith, because there's so many Sith in Legends continuity that they transfer their essence into things, or they're preserved, or whatever. Who's the guy who helped Vader create the castle?
Oh yeah.
I don't.
His essence is imbued to that helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I've read the comic like 4 times, but
Keep going.
he's imbued to that. So I think maybe there's something ancient, like really ancient there, that's not really Sith, but it's like ancient dark side that's calling to him.
Lord Mammon.
I just don't.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
just
Moment,
don't know if I agree with that because Baylan's character doesn't scream that it's going that direction.
See,
But it
Baylan's
might
not
not-
like outright Sith. and
That's
that
what I'm
doesn't seem
saying.
the
Like he
direction
seems
that he's
like
going.
I don't know. Like okay,
He seems a bit more
sequels
complex
time.
than
But like
that.
when Kylo Ren went looking for the Sith stuff,
I don't. Yeah,
he was like all about trying to be the bad guy and figuring out all of this stuff and like really trying to be like a fucking Sith Lord. Whereas like with Baylan, like his character just does not at all to be honest, I know that he's like the bad guy and he's like meant to be, you know, the antagonist.
Oh,
or
he's
well-
not the bad
well,
guy.
he's
Thrawn
one-
is.
I
mean,
they're
obviously
very
he's
much both,
one-
They're very much both villains.
They are both
like,
written,
whatever he's
like-
searching for will not be like a positive.
Right.
It might not be a galaxy-wide like villain thing, but it very much might be. To,
I don't
like,
know,
Ahsoka.
but we'll see. Because I don't know if, like, I think he's meant to be like a villain because he's got like an orange lightsaber. But the reality of it is, like, they haven't done anything to his character to make him like bad. Like yeah, he fights Ahsoka, and
He
he's
did
like, no one
slaughter
will
a
be
whole
fo-"
starship of rebels.
There's not gonna be a.
Right, but it's like his whole thing this entire time has been like very hesitant about stuff. Like it would be a shame. I guess we have to kill Ahsoka, but it's a shame. And also like the Jedi failed and that sucked and that made me sad, but maybe I'm on a different path. Like he's very
I assume
confusing,
it's
I guess you
something
could say,
world-
but there's
I
nothing that
assume it's
outright says
something with
he's a
World
bad
Between
guy.
Worlds
Yeah.
connection. That's
You know.
the
Can
only
I
way
say
that
something?
makes sense.
Yeah, go for it.
So a couple things. So there's some practical problems that this is his last episode.
Yeah, he's not. This is
Yeah.
this
So
is this season's
so
villain.
let me just go through a couple things. Just looking at it from this standpoint, just from basics of storytelling, there is a bigger bad, and this is the bigger bad that's been messing with Thrawn and the Night Sisters for as long as they've been there, and that's why the ship is depleted and whatever. So, is this something's been calling to Baylan, which I think, right? Because Baylan says stuff was calling to him. So there's part of me feels like Baylan has, in his mind or in his whatever, the force that he's been receiving this through, thinks this is going to allow him to bring back something. I think when he's going to get there, the way they're going to yada yada the death of the character is that whatever this is will kill him.
Yeah, probably.
So he's going to get destroyed and be shocked because he thought that this was going to be his partner to do whatever it was, bring back his version of the Jedi or the Sith or whatever it was that he wanted to do.
Be really intense.
And this is why they seem to be in such a rush to get off this planet.
I assume it's
And I
something
just
more
think
that's
that
God related.
And so that's going to tie into, and I don't know if this is part of one of the topics, but I really want to sense, is that got something to do what's in the containers that they're putting into the shuttle bay, that so they can take the ship and get back to.
No, I think that's Night Sister stuff.
So I have two things. One, a person commented on our YouTube video and said that Ezra's chainmail.
Yeah, he didn't. That's okay. You got 100. Cool. Like there's 43,000
Yes.
like people on a Star
Yes.
Destroyer. So
But
like yes, it's
he
true.
has been fighting Thrall.
Yeah, but I assume like in defense of the village,
Probably.
like not in turn. Like Ezra, like there's a lot of people that I've seen that theory a lot. That Ezra's it's like these people need to give up. Like the theory of Ezra being bad has shifted 4 times to these people because they wanted to be right.
I don't think
like,
he's bad. I just think that he has been dwindling Thrawn's.
Okay, well if he's
forces,
dwindling
even
on that
minutely.
level, then he's not the Ezra like anymore that like we had. Like he would have to be like. And he's like hiding. Like he's not really like. Yes, he's like these guys have slingshots. Like I think he's defending the village, and they've kind of taken him in, and that's all he has. And he's been waiting. That's like literally what he said. Like he kind of knew even before he jumped wherever he was going to jump that he was going to be stuck there. That's what his vision told him.
Yeah.
And that he would have to just sit put and wait till whoever found him.
Yeah.
Like
well, his message to Sabine was
yeah,
to find me.
yeah, exactly.
My second thing, maybe the force that's calling out to Baylan, in the original episode 9 script, there was that ancient evil Sith creature. Google says it's the Oracle.
Yeah.
So that could be it.
I can promise you they're not going to take any scrapped idea from the
So it could be interesting.
I can promise you.
I want to
It's Mace Windu.
Somehow Mace Windu returned.
Somehow Mace Windu returned.
So, in regards to what I think Baylan is seeking, is or kind of to go to it. Yeah, there's the power. I think one, he's seeking a new apprentice. I think he's sending Shin to do her trials, essentially by fighting Ahsoka and all them, and saying, "Okay, these are your trials. You'll be a knight after this," kind of thing. I think that's what that is. But
He's not training her to be a knight. Just saying.
She has
Keep
the
going, though.
braid.
She
so
had the
it's
braid, that's why I
possible.
was-
But he said, "I trained you to be something more than a Jedi." That's literally one of the.
Yeah,
dialogues.
But
Yeah,
I
he
think
did
I'm
say
talking about going through the trials as in like
Sure.
a rite of passage, not necessarily like a knight, but
Sure.
But this is to circle back to the whole. You said Darth Malgus, well, and Julian's kind of like, oh, whatever.
No, I'm listening.
But I'm thinking it's Darth Vitiate, who has come back.
Is that?
Darth Vitiate is the most like absolute evil Sith Lord. He surpasses Palpatine. He in Legends, in the original KOTOR, he was like worse.
Is
than
this
Palpatine.
the Emperor guy from Legends?
Vicious he comes back to life like 8 times.
Yeah, well, his name is
but-
Vicious.
Yeah, but he's the second most powerful character Sith ever, besides Palpatine. Let's get that.
I
correct.
would say
Well, you can say that, but the canon there's multiple source material of almost everything that says Palpatine is the pinnacle of Sith lords. Like even before the sequel trilogy, which I don't even like count in my.
We'll watch your
dialogue
career
with
with
most
great
of the
interest.
time.
But Vitiate has come back.
I don't really. Yeah, I
multiple
think it's just his
times.
power. He died 8 times. Then
Yeah. So,
that's what to me happens. He died 8 times.
but like you know the
Palpatine died once.
KOTOR videos with the twins.
Yeah.
It's it's the dad.
Yes, the
Yeah.
dad of that. Yes, we know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, I know what
He
you're
doesn't
talking
know,
about now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Darth Vitiate, but he's like essentially immortal.
Yeah, I can promise you it's not going to be.
But I'm saying it could be something like that where it's something so
Something just inspired by him.
yeah. But I think
I think if they
Baylan's
do
talking
any of that,
about
people will automatically view it as a cop out and as a tease of a different genre that they're trying to launch, which I will be put out by if I see that as well.
But what I'm saying is, though, I think whatever's calling to him is kind of like how Palpatine called to Anakin was like, "Oh, I'll give you what you want," kind of thing.
Well, I don't deny that.
So
Yeah,
what I'm
I don't
thinking
think it
is
has
like,
to be a Sith, though.
but I'm saying,
I do think that Moranto had the right idea that whatever it is will kill Baylan.
oh, it has to. But like the idea is,
Well, I mean,
It doesn't
CGI.
have to.
or
I don't think that they're gonna CGI him. We just don't know what his plan was
It's the sun.
for
could be.
I think that's
Ray
a better.
Stevenson's
I think
You know
that's
what I
honestly a
think?
better
You know what I
guess
think?
than
You
a
know
lot
what
of
I
other
think?
things.
It's Darth Maul again
The 7th time.
for the 9th time.
God, it's only been 3. But
Or it could just be something completely.
I think the only character.
Yeah, it could be
Goku.
something
I think
completely brand new.
I
too.
think it's.
like
I really think it's World Between Worlds related. I really
Probably.
because
Probably
I don't
World
think it.
Between
I
Worlds.
don't think it's going to like go super into it. But
wait
the symbolism of like the basic. I've been convinced something World Between Worlds was going to show up since. And we have already had that, obviously, with the Ahsoka thing, where she obviously went into the World Between Worlds, like for some mystical thing. So that's kind of what Star Wars is very much soft magic, so you can do that.
What if he goes into the world between worlds? And sees
No, that's
Anakin?
that's what my idea
If
is.
he
I've been
sees
saying this for
Anakin, I
weeks.
don't know.
No, I've been saying
Maybe.
this for weeks actually.
knows
But I
him.
think like the way he's been talking, and maybe I read too much into this, but I think his vitriolic hatred of Ahsoka, which was kind of came out at one point. And kind of a little bit of hatred for Anakin, it seemed like, for what he became. Very much feels like he misses the idea of the Jedi. So it's almost like he's, I don't know. I just think the World Between Worlds has something to do with it.
Like I
because
think that he,
even in the trail, like in the, not to cut you off, but in the credits and stuff, you have like the Wolf Gate that like was in Rebels.
Yeah.
That was
Right.
an entrance to, that was an entrance to the World Between Worlds at one point. And we have like a Purgle Gate, essentially, like which was kind of connects to which I think makes sense because I think there's an idea that the Purgle use like the Force almost to like with the gas, if that makes sense. Like that was
Possibly.
that's kind of like the idea. And then you have the Loth Wolves that also kind of do that weird teleporty thing, like on the wall.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think it is World Between Worlds, but now that you've like explained it like that, it's probably World Between Worlds related. But I think whatever happens to like if he does go there, whatever happens to him in there is gonna kill him.
I agree. We gotta move on, yeah. But I think, my kind of early thought was like, does he want to like get into there so he can like pop back into like a different point? Which again, that might be too much. And
Maybe
the World
that's
Between
his
Worlds
goal,
has
is
not
to
been.
try to go stop.
And
the
they haven't
Jedi
really
from
treated
falling.
the World Between Worlds as time travel, and I think that's a good thing because people will complain if it becomes like time travel. Like the only person who's gotten to like use it was like Ahsoka for like a very specific
I
like,
wonder.
purpose.
I wonder if the
And
There
she
also
went right
wasn't
back to
time
the same
travel, she
time.
just-
Like he didn't hop into like the past.
I
like,
wonder
for-
if
Right,
the
but also
world-
she couldn't change anything. She was just
Well,
experiencing
we don't.
it.
I think the idea is you could.
You could
like,
if you went into the act because what happened in that episode was more like she went into it while in a meditative state.
Well, I wonder if that's maybe why there were no doorways.
Yes.
And I think it also has to do a little bit
Like,
with like
it's
her
slightly
own
different.
connection to the Mortis stuff because I think the Mortis stuff connects to the World Between Worlds as well because they're on the wall there and everything.
I wonder if the World Between Worlds is a light side only kind of thing because Palpatine
Yeah, I think so.
needed Ezra
Well-
to get into it,
well, there's the
and when his connection was severed, like his hand started to burn while he was in there.
it's like the pathway between all time and space is what they say in Rebels, which kind of relates a little bit to like Force Ghosts in a
So
way.
I don't know
so.
if like you could get in there. So maybe like Baylan tries to go into the World Between Worlds and it kills him because he's not aligned.
I don't know if that would be a
Maybe,
little
yeah.
anticlimactic if that happened, but I don't know. Maybe he just won't be able to access it because like he's like almost fallen from like
Yeah.
what a Jedi was,
gonna get
and
Spy
that's
Kids
almost his
3D.
hubris. Like
Spy Kids 3D.
where he goes into the last level and he goes, "I'm the guy," and then he just gets electrocuted, and that's it. That's what we're gonna
I have a
get.
terrible plot point idea.
sure.
for
Go ahead.
So, and tell me, I'm sure I again, because out of the five of us, I'm like in third grade compared to where you guys are in your doctorate thesis for Star Wars. So my thought is there a potential that they're unable to get back to the ship to leave to go back to the main universe? So they're stuck there, and could Ahsoka use World Between Worlds to bring them as a passageway to get them back to where they have to be?
So
That I would not be opposed to that. Honestly, like I think that like a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, that's a cop out." But honestly, World Between, I mean, we haven't explored like the full potential of what it can do. We've seen what it happens to Ezra, and like,
Are you raising?
give me
her?
2 seconds, bro.
Yeah, wait.
So we've seen like Ezra obviously. I mean, you can change the past. I mean, he stopped Ahsoka from dying.
Yeah, you did
So-
change something.
Like you can go through and do that. Maybe like that would be interesting if they do use that as a path.
It's a slippery slope.
I guess my concern then is how do they use World Between Worlds, and then like so they enter World Between Worlds and they find a doorway back into the other galaxy. What do
it's
they?
too convoluted.
But they have to go back in time
Baylan.
then technically. So they
Well,
would
yeah,
they
but-
would technically be going back in time, and then they're gonna like what?
But once
wait
again,
for
I
Thrawn?
said this was a terrible idea.
But no, but like they might be able to make it work because we haven't explored full
Baylan
potential of
stopped
what
the
that actually.
sequels from happening.
He's like, I have glorious purpose, and it's just I've seen an awful future that I need to
But I'm
prevent.
just saying, like
I will destroy the universe. To
We
prevent
haven't-
that
That is
issue from
great.
ever
we
happening.
haven't seen
Well done, Jack.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
we
Good
haven't
work.
seen the full potential of what you can do with World Between Worlds. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Filoni
I
just
think-
wrote something into it
I
where they
think-
could.
All right, we got to
travel.
move on.
Wait,
Hold
can
on.
I say one more thing?
Sure.
think-
And then Jordan has his opinion.
Well, no, I'll wait till we get to the prediction stuff. So go ahead.
to go to your plot point and why that won't work is because I was watching a video and
Star
they
Wars theory.
Ugh.
get out.
I'll happily say
Trash. What?
I'll happily say we don't support that channel here.
We don't.
No.
We don't like him.
I would happily say that.
We support all content creators, but also I just think his theories are dumb.
No, I don't support.
Or
all
Mike
content
Zero.
creators.
I don't
That's
like
not
him
true.
either.
Anyway,
Anyways,
like-
so no, there was an explanation. I don't know if it was in the comics or if it was in a book that basically, if you go in through one portal, you have to go out through the same portal.
I don't think that.
that's not proof. That's not canon
anything.
because that's not canon at all because Ezra literally reaches through the other portal
Yeah.
and pulls Ahsoka from it.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah, but
So if that was the case, he could have just walked right out and
she
into
went
that.
back into the place that she left, and Ezra went back out of the same portal that he came in through.
Yes,
think-
because
I don't
yeah,
think-
because
I don't
that's
think
what-
that's how that
because
works.
they wanted
To
to go
do
back.
that, they
Ezra was
just
like, actually,
wanted-
I want to take a vacation to like Camino. Here's like Obi-Wan fighting Django, so I'm gonna go chill out here. I like the rain. I grew up in the fall. We didn't have a lot of that.
I
Like-
think,
Yeah, I don't think that's the
I
case.
don't
I think
think
he could
that
just
it's
leave.
the case. I think you could go through any portal you want. I think that Ahsoka went back through her portal because she didn't want to change anything from the timeline, and I think Ezra went back through his portal because obviously he wanted to go to where he
then we
was.
realized-
And again, I
Outside the
thought
sequel
I've
work.
always said there was two different things like with the World Between Worlds. One, it was either Ahsoka is always meant to be pulled out at that time,
Yep.
which is why her portal is different than most of the others. I think we see one in the very, very far distance, but she is the only triangle portal. Morai's waiting on it. So I think there's an idea that like it's almost fate to the Force intervening to have Ezra take Ahsoka out. And I think maybe that whole idea is even for whatever kind of convoluted idea that Filoni had in his mind for what's going on now, all the way back then. Because obviously he already had like the prologue and stuff in mind.
Yeah.
So he has some idea, even all the way back when the Rebels finale happened, of like what he thought like kind of a post-Endor
Well, even-
Rebels crew and some other characters and maybe some other weird ideas in his brain would do.
Even
where
when
Ezra
people,
would be.
even when people asked him like, "Where
Yeah.
is Ezra at conventions?" he would say, "Far, far away."
Yeah, like no, true actually, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's move on to the next question.
Yeah. And I think this one will be pretty quick, unlike the last one. Do you think that Thrawn is using the Night Sisters?
We've already talked about
We've
this.
already kind of
Yeah,
talked about
they're,
it in the
they're
first one.
using
They're
each
using
other.
each other.
Yeah,
in a
it's a
way.
mutual
Yeah.
kind of.
Let's just blow right over that. We already
Yeah.
know the answer to that.
Do you think Ezra is afraid to use his lightsaber? I'll go
No-
first on
okay,
that
go ahead.
one. No. I just think that I think it's more he thinks Sabine will be more protected with it in a way. Secondly, I don't know, he hasn't used it in 10 years and she's had it longer. She might almost be more connected to it slightly.
So I don't think that he's afraid to use it.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of like the opposite side of the coin of where Palpatine was, where he almost feels like they're obsolete, where he thinks that the Force can protect him, or he can use the Force better than he could a lightsaber.
Well, he
to
must be like
protect him.
incredible. He survived 10 years on this planet with like bandits.
Like, I mean, let's just be
like,
real. Like, he
Thrawn
just
there.
doesn't need it anymore. Like, you don't need a lightsaber to be a good Jedi.
Well,
Like,
I
it's the
assume he's
weapon of a
also-
Jedi, but you don't need it.
Yeah, he's also like kind of very Jedi like decked out, like the way he's dressed, like it's very traditional.
Yeah.
Into what he could like kind of scrounge to make a kind of more traditional like looking Jedi.
Yeah, I think that the like the point. I don't think he's afraid to use it. I think he's literally looking at the situation and he goes, eh. Like he just doesn't need it anymore. He spent so much time with the Force. He's like, nah, I'm pretty good with this. You just do your thing. If I decide I need it,
he spent 10 years honing like whatever fight style he
Right,
has now.
right,
without a
exactly.
lightsaber,
I did
so-
hear a theory, and everyone's probably going to disagree.
Star
with
Wars
it.
theory.
No,
Why do we need to stop doing this?
I heard a theory, and it's like very, very. It's possible, but it's very, very unlikely, since they did break into the dome to take it over.
Sure.
Ezra could possibly, technically, have Kanan's lightsaber, because what's her name? Price had it in the dome.
In theory, it works. I
don't-
severely doubt it.
No, because he
Wait,
got
wait,
searched on like getting on the Imperial. Like they searched him.
That's true.
Like he was a prisoner for a little
So-
bit. Like,
Yeah.
That's true.
He doesn't
I
have
do
anything. He doesn't even have a
anticipate-
gun on him.
I will say this. I do anticipate that his lightsaber will appear.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Here's why. Only because how Disney is pushing their marketing right now with they're dropping this as well as multiple more versions of Kanan's lightsabers with toys and stuff like that. And I'm just looking at it that way.
With Kanan. What do you mean, like with Kanan like figures and stuff?
No, just like the lightsaber independently.
Yeah,
Disney is dropping that.
Yeah, so like
No, to be-
Galaxy's Edge, they're legacy lightsabers, like the one that I have.
And the
Yeah,
legacy
they did a Kanan
lightsaber.
lightsaber.
Yeah,
it's
but they
brand
only
new.
it's only
It's a
dropping in
different design.
October. It is it's similar to this, but it's slightly different. The grip inside's different.
I'm gonna
Just
look
for
this up now.
reference, This is what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
the Galaxy's Edge dropped because I don't think it's been available yet.
It hasn't, but they've only been dropping lightsabers as certain parts of shows and stuff come out. That's the only reason I'm saying this, why it might make an appearance. It might just be like, oh, hey, this is up on the wall, or Hera has gotten it, or not Hera. What's his name?
I think Hera might have it. by now.
That's possible.
But
'Cause
she
they
got it from the dude.
I think
I
Hera
can't think
has
of his
it,
name.
and I think the kid will get it.
Azadi?
Azadi.
You talking about
Because
this
when
one?
he took over.
No, that's
Ezra's.
When he took over as governor, maybe he had it.
Yeah, that's possible.
So I think it's going to make an appearance.
They took control of the dome, and that's where Kanan's lightsaber was. So anybody who's in the dome could have had it.
And they had
It makes so
Brenda had,
much
like,
more
the
sense
other
what
one,
Christian
so
just said, that the son ends up
The
with
son's
it.
Yeah.
going to get
Well,
it.
that's kind of
Yeah.
where I was going with it. That it'll make an
Jason
appearance.
probably.
I think
has it.
I think Hera is probably holding on to it for safekeeping until like Jason,
Yeah.
is old enough to decide that he wants to be a Jedi or not.
But in regards to being afraid to use the lightsaber, I think he's reluctant to use the lightsaber. Did I use that word correctly?
Sure.
Maybe.
Sure.
Depends
I don't
on
know.
what
It
your
depends
next
on the
action is.
context.
He doesn't want to use it, but if he's got to use it, he will. And it's like, I don't know. My mind's not working right properly.
I'm looking at this, and it really isn't that different from that. It's just a metal version of it.
But
The
it,
ex-
like,
the
it's got-
exchange
it's
isn't
like
even-
It's got electronics in it and stuff.
Yeah, but so. I mean, they're just taking his lightsaber. and
I
making
think
it
we're
live
honestly.
action.
I think we're looking into a comedic bit.
Right. I
Like
think
that. Like we're overanalyzing a bit
like-
that was just very Rebels-esque between the two characters, like arguing about something.
I don't think that he's very much. Like, I don't think he needs.
It's
it
not like
anymore.
It's not like Ezra was like the most like. Ezra was. I know. I'll say
wasn't a
Ezra was a
proficient.
poor
Oh, I'm talking
saber
about-
wielder. Like
I'm talking about.
he
are we
was
gonna
rather
see
poor.
Kanan's
Like in
lightsaber?
the
I don't
grand
know.
scheme of things, like there have been many a Jedi who have been better with a lightsaber than
Well,
Ezra.
yeah, but,
Ezra
like-
is just extremely powerful in the Force, like to the point that he has the most unique like animal ability, the
So-
anti-Cal Kestis ability.
Yeah.
So-
of to
Which is-
befriend animals, where
but
Cal
which-
Kestis' ability is to murder them
Well, yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, 100%.
indiscriminately.
But also, I mean,
Decapitations.
but also, I'm glad that they're kind of spreading that. I like that they are.
It was a very humorous episode with that.
Yeah.
I like that they are spreading the idea that all of these different force abilities that we didn't see in any of the like Skywalker timeline movies are
Yeah.
now things that like all of these characters can have. So things like talking to animals or the Force
healing.
Echo or the Force healing, like that kind of stuff. Like we're seeing all that, and ironically, this is why she's number 1 on the fucking tier list, is that Ahsoka has all of them.
We haven't seen her force heal yet.
Okay, well,
We won't say it.
$10
We
she'll
won't
get
see-
there.
We
like,
won't hear. See, but we'll
So
see it
that
in Force
that
Hill for a
actually
very long time.
segues perfectly
like
into
let's
the
be
next
real, she'll get
talking
there
point.
eventually.
So
Kristen,
do
what's
you
the next
think?
point?
Go ahead. Sorry,
I don't even know.
hijacked. I have it up right here. If you don't mind me reading it.
Who's stronger with the Force, Ezra or Ahsoka? Well, Ahsoka.
Ahsoka, 100%.
Ahsoka's 100%.
So
Ezra just has like access to an extremely powerful Force ability. That's
So-
just it. Like, but also Ahsoka just kind of copied it. Let's be real.
based
Like-
off of what we're seeing, though, I think he's more in tune with the
I
Force. Or
will-
she's a more well-rounded Jedi.
I will shut you down right now.
Well,
Ezra,
let him finish. Let him finish.
Ezra got yeeted by Shin. That would never happen
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka didn't get yeeted by Shin. By any
No,
point.
she only got pushed off a cliff by Baylan.
He was
Baylan's
who's
not the same as
extremely,
Shin.
He was much more powerful than
My
Shin
my
by
point.
almost
Well,
every
he also didn't have a
degree.
lightsaber and stuff. I'm just saying.
He said he
You don't need a
decided not to have a lightsaber.
Okay,
Anyway,
but
go
here's
ahead,
my
go
point.
ahead.
I think that Ahsoka is a more well-rounded Jedi, but I think right now, at this moment, Ezra is more in tune with the physical Force itself.
I think she just like that. I'm pretty sure we had an entire episode that the point was to get Ahsoka more attuned with
Yeah, and
the Force.
after her discussion with Anakin, she's way stronger than Ezra.
Yeah, I think that's like with the costume change and the Ahsoka the white. Like,
All I know is we have to
version.
move Ezra up on our tier list.
No, we don't.
don't.
No, we don't.
To what as a power.
He's
tier?
still
the
at
tier
this
list isn't
at,
a power.
at
tier
this
list.
very moment in time. He is still deserves to be lower on the list than Kanan.
I mean, it's not even a power ranking tier. This isn't character. ranking.
Like this is straight up like, but like even still at this moment in time, after he's been isolated and he's doing whatever with the Force, whatever, he's still not as good as Kanan will ever was. Like he just isn't. Like that's the
Yeah,
reality.
well, I like
definitely
what they
isn't
they called
stronger
that thing like the what did Baylan call it, which was a really cool concept.
Yeah, I
The-
know,
the-
and you do it
the
on
Boken
purpose. It
Jedi,
annoys me.
the Boken Jedi.
Yeah,
Pokin, yeah.
Yeah,
A Jedi raised in the wild.
yeah.
yeah, which is a very cool concept.
But Ahsoka was trained prequels, mid Clone Wars era by Anakin.
Yeah,
Skywalker.
like he has like pure
He's
Jedi
not-
training.
Until she came along, was like the most powerful.
And Kanan Jarrus,
I love
and Kanan
Thrawn's
Jarrus would get
reaction.
like one shot Jedi templed by like Anakin during that
Yeah.
whole like let's be real, even like full grown like
Oh.
Anakin like
Anakin,
like, yeah.
and the thing is that, like, let's be real. If Anakin was alive and he and Ezra got into a lightsaber fight or got into a fight, period, Anakin would body him in a second.
Vader bodied them
Like-
in 2 seconds.
Well, yeah, exactly.
They
like,
fought Vader and they both lost to Vader.
like it's not hard. Like, I get it. Everybody wants Ezra to be the most powerful character, but like even really like I've rewatched Rebels recently before we started watching this show, and. Like, I get it. Ezra's powerful. He has access to World Between Worlds, and he's got all these great Force abilities, but he just, like, there is still not enough evidence to support that he's even remotely as close to as powerful as, like, Luke or Obi-Wan.
No, Ezra and
he's just
Kanan
not.
are not supposed to be nearly as strong as like a Jedi like Luke is.
Like, I think
Ezra-
the fans really want them to be the two most powerful because they really like them, but they're just not.
Ezra-
like
Like,
Kanan
they
becomes
don't have the
quite
experience.
powerful over the
Ezra-
course of Rebels.
Oh,
Don't get me
yeah.
wrong.
But they're not powerful enough to be
Ezra's
Anakin
not stronger
level.
than Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's not stronger than Luke.
Yeah, that's kind. Yeah, exactly. I don't even know if like.
Right, yeah.
I think Ezra probably now is I would say Ezra now is probably the same level that Kanan was upon his death.
Yes.
That's what I would think.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what
And
I think
he's
they will
just
probably
never even
place.
close to Ahsoka.
Which I think Kanan upon his death is. Honestly, I think Kanan's probably given like the. We have to keep in mind, Jedi are not. There's not too many great like Jedi in terms of power level that from the prequel era. Like Kanan probably by end of, given his feats like being the Grand Inquisitor, who was pretty powerful. He survived the Order
Yeah.
66 massacre and like killed a bunch of
would've
other
been a council
Sentinels. I think he's I think he's master tier. Like there's a couple council members that got butchered by people pretty quickly.
I'd say he's beginning Clone
Even
Wars
Peel died by a
Obi-Wan.
dog.
I'd say Kanan is beginning Clone Wars Obi-Wan level.
Coleman Trevor died by Jango Fett. He was on the council. That's what I'm saying. Like, is Kanan better than Coleman Trevor, who was a Jedi Council Master? Yes.
Probably.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not like a Mace Windu level or even like a Plo Koon, Kit Fisto level, but he's on the shitter level, like Oppo Rancisis, Yaddle, like Coleman Kajak, or whatever his name is, like the guy who replaced the other Zabrek, whose name is way less recognizable.
Yariel Poof.
Yarl Poof, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I see what you're saying. But let's still put it all the way down to
But yeah,
there's
he's not
no
that
way
good,
that he's
like,
better
yeah.
than Ahsoka.
Mhm.
Like,
So-
he's just not.
Want to know why he's not better than Ahsoka?
Go for it.
Because the show's called Ahsoka.
Boom.
I mean, you got a point.
She's not gonna be the. She's not gonna be. It doesn't make any sense. The show. They could have just called the show on Ezra then. Like if Ezra's gonna be the biggest,
Finding Ezra.
like Finding Ezra's. Well, yeah, like it was like that should have been the name of the show then.
Help! I've lost my son.
Right.
All right.
Look,
Christian,
I
All right,
let's go.
we'll detour real quick because I actually was doing something the other day, and this was kind
Go
of
for
related to
it.
what we're talking about. And then we'll do at the end best parts of the episode and predictions for the final. So kind of let that sit in your brain for a few minutes while
Okay.
we talk about this. So I was doing a tier list of Star Wars characters randomly, just in this journal, and I want to see if people agree with the S+ tier on this or not. And
Okay.
I won't go too into like anything else.
S+ tier?
Yeah, I have
that's
just have like the best
of the best.
which I also said just God tier, whatever.
Okay, God tier.
And that's the Mortis gods are in that tier
Okay.
of power.
Oh, so we're doing power rankings.
Yeah, this is a
Okay,
this is
okay,
a
okay.
power ranking tier. Palpatine is in that like tier. I'm not even talking about sequel Palpatine.
Wait, so sorry.
I'm just talking about just
start again.
Palpatine.
Start
Mortis
again.
gods
The
and
Mortis
Palpatine.
gods.
Palpatine
The
are
father, the
In that order.
Yeah, this is not in this order. Just
okay.
like they're in this
I think
ranking of
Mortis gods
power
would
level.
take Palpatine.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so
Probably,
Mortis
yeah.
God's Palpatine.
So Mortis gods, the father, the son, and the daughter, and
The Holy
Palpatine.
Spirit.
I said Mortis God Anakin, so specifically when Anakin is in the Mortis
okay.
plane and like kind of has that moment where you kind of
balance.
brings the daughter and the son like
their
under,
knees.
which again like those two beings are powerful enough in the Force where they can like shapeshift and teleport and into multiple different creatures and stuff, like a different level
They
of
can literally
Force like
sway
manipulation that
people
we've
from the
never
light
seen.
side to the dark
Yeah,
side with
exactly.
touch.
With bites.
Yeah.
Because like Ahsoka got bit by a giant rat and turned evil. You ever see that
Right,
meme?
right.
Where it's
So,
like Ahsoka literally got
who's
bit
next?
by it.
So the Mortis gods.
I had Luke Skywalker in there.
Okay.
I think like what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, he's
I know
S+.
there's weird stuff, and he doesn't have a lot of feats in the current canon.
this
but
Luke
yeah, that Luke Skywalker, which is my Luke. Yeah, that Luke Skywalker.
I still think
is
that
in
even
that category.
I still think that even canon Luke Skywalker's at this power
Yeah.
level.
And Vader. Because I'm of the opinion
what,
that Vader
what
is.
version of Vader?
No,
Like, Vader in the suit or Anakin?
my version of I don't view. I think Anakin is his body, and then Vader is the suit. That's what I
Okay.
think. I don't think Anakin collapses into like Dooku is Tyrannus, but he's not the persona Tyrannus.
I think, yeah,
like
I think-
Anakin as a part of his like fall to the dark becomes a new
Yes.
evil persona that is Vader that he only fully goes into because one of the reasons he loses to Obi-Wan is because he's conflicted during that fight and he's not fully embraced it, and that's why he's crying while he kills like a lot of the Confederates and stuff like that. Confederacy. The Confederates. Yes, those
Separatists.
damn
I think
Southerners.
that,
Kill
Those-
Robert E. Lee.
he
Like, I
killed
just
him in a
think that-
duel.
I think, dude, I you have to put Ahsoka up there. She's
No, I don't think she's that tier.
I think
She's
she's
better.
powerful.
She's
We'll
better
see
than
what
Darth
Ahsoka
Vader.
we'll see what
I'm
Ahsoka the
more
White
powerful
does.
Oh my
than
no,
God,
no, she's
yes.
not.
No.
Really?
Here's
He could
here's
not beat
why.
Vader in a one-on-one.
Here is
No,
why.
that's the whole point of why Ezra pulls her out, because she would have died there, so the Force intervened to save her from dying to Vader.
Yeah.
That's like why that scene happened, in my opinion.
Maybe I just really want her.
I think
to
she's
be
the category lower. We'll see.
You know,
yeah, that's
'cause I
exactly
love
what you're
her.
doing.
She's just the
we'll
best.
see what Ahsoka the White can do, because again, we'll
we haven't
see
gotten
what
there
what she can do now. Which
You're
that
right,
might
okay.
move her up a category. I
And-
think she's in the next category down
Yeah.
with
Ahsoka's my
Obi-Wan and a bunch of other
favorite
people.
character ever, and I am
Don't think
okay
she can
with
beat-
allowing this to happen.
But anyway,
No,
we're gonna
let
go back
me
to
let me.
Jordan.
I
Go
agree
ahead.
with Julian that she should be up there, and here's why. Because one, she is the living embodiment of the sister, which then makes her a Mortis god.
No, it doesn't. We're moving on. We're not. I'm not even going to listen to this argument. Anyway, next question.
well,
Anyway,
well,
what's
so
everyone's?
fuck my opinion.
what's-
No, you
No,
guys
it's-
get to sit there and talk.
She literally
yours.
lost like if she was Mortis God opinion, she doesn't lose to Baylan. She doesn't like lose lightsabers versus Thrawn, like versus like.
Wait, let him.
Like
let
she's
him
been
finish, let
like
him
what
finish.
since like what since like season 3 of Clone Wars. She's been in the daughter and hasn't used any of those abilities
Go ahead,
like the
Jordan.
entire time.
Finish
No,
your-
fuck my opinion.
Go
Can she
ahead,
shapeshift?
Jordan, just
Go,
finish.
Jordan.
shapeshift?
Just finish
No,
your-
but she can fucking beat death.
Yeah, because Ezra pulled her through a
'Cause of
portal,
Ezra
not because
and
of some
Anakin.
magical like
That's I
ability.
still think that how she got there is not necessarily Anakin, but is the fact
No,
that
Ahsoka
she's
did the
so-
opposite of what Maul did. Maul survived through like some of his hatred, where she survived through the whatever the Jedi equivalent of that is. That's literally what happened
love,
there. Like
lightness.
Love, compassion.
I don't think that. First off, I don't think
clinging to life instead of like hate and
that,
death.
I don't think that she's a Mortis god because
Yeah, I think the idea. So I think
She's a guardian. That's
I
like
want
the-
to. I want to.
Yeah, she is a
Morai is the
guardian.
Mortis
Well,
god.
I
guardian
want to
person.
touch
She has
on the
essence of
idea
it
that
inside
a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, like Anakin is a Mortis god or she is a Mortis god." They're not. The Mortis gods are the Mortis gods. They have influenced Anakin and Ahsoka, but they are not literally the Mortis
Oh,
gods.
Anakin
And that's the
might,
thing that people
Anakin
are.
might
might
literally
be.
be the father now. That
because
might be
in the
Anakin.
Mortis
What we
arc,
saw.
in the Mortis arc when the father was talking to Anakin, he says, "When I die, you're who is going to replace me."
Right, fine, very well. Okay, so he might be. She is
not.
not.
in death upon Anakin, fulfilling
literally
the
the god.
prophecy in episode like 6. He assumes his role, and that's I think the better. Honestly, I think that's a
great-
much better retcon for why he's allowed to be a Force ghost in episode 6, and not just we felt like having Anakin there because it's feel good. Because no, like in the lore of how people feel on Force ghosts, it doesn't make any sense for Anakin to be a Force
I always
ghost at
thought
the
it was
end.
just because he's part of the he was born of the Force, so he returned.
But
to
in
he
the
also
new,
just
the
died a
current
good
lore
guy.
has changed that though into like you have to be trained, and like
Yeah.
Yoda literally became like Force Ghost Obi-Wan, like Qui-Gon's like Padawan, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to do the last couple points on this. Best part of the episode, guys. Jack, you want to go first,
I
or
think
you want
Ezra-
to? Jordan, you can
yeah,
go.
Jordan, why don't you go?
Yeah, you can go,
first?
Jordan.
The Noti pulling out the slingshot.
Okay.
That was fun.
That was
was
like
fun.
the moment I was like, yes, this is how we know Ezra's impact on this culture. He pulls out.
Yeah,
a
it was very much
slingshot.
an Ezra thing.
Julian,
Come back to me. I have to think about this.
I think that Ezra's negotiating skills was hilarious. I think the best part of the episode was C-3PO filling in for what would have been a Leia cameo if
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher was still around.
Rich.
She would have been young.
Well, they would have gotten Carrie Fisher's permission
best
to
part-
DH her.
I'm kind of with Jack on C-3PO. I really liked. This is. I know. Actually, I'm going to say the best part is Ahsoka hugging Ezra.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
I teared up. I was like, "Aw," because like their connection is as good as Sabine's connection.
Yeah, if my opinion is correct,
Like-
that Ezra became like almost a vessel of the Force to or was used by the Force to save Ahsoka.
And we really also in that moment, like there were so many moments in that episode where Ahsoka was the Ahsoka that we wanted to see, where she does the thing, where she turns the thing in her smile,
Yeah.
where she looks so much, where she's really embodied all those things that we wanted Ahsoka to be like, that we needed to get through whatever episode.
Yeah,
that
like I love
was.
that she looked at Sabine with no disappointments or anything at all. Like
Yeah,
after
like
everything
she
that's
just let it
happened.
go.
She
like,
just
we're not, we're
like
not
that's
gonna
what
ever
she
talk
should have
about
done.
that. Right. That whole
She was just happy
scene
that
is
she was
just so
okay.
good.
Like that was like that's a great moment.
Yeah.
It was a very humorous episode.
There's a lot of comedy in this, and I think like. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think my favorite moment was the C-3PO thing, just because that's very much like them bringing in the politics of Star Wars, but also doing it in a way that is like really well done. But I think that what I
like the overlap of characters in that scene.
Right.
Like that feels like a book scene. Like,
Yeah,
so,
it
like, some
does.
of the
It does.
extended
It does.
universe, like where you have Mon Mothma as like an actual character, not just a kind of a background character, interacting with another like character from a TV show with referencing like an envoy in like literally C-3PO there. That's like the cross
and then
between
there's
so many
reference
things.
to Leia and all that stuff. I think like the thing that I liked the most about the episode, especially, is when they start to get attacked when they're in those little pod things, because it feels like a little micro battle that they would have had in Rebels. Like that's what it feels
No,
like.
I agree with that.
And it's really well done. I
was-
mean, with the slingshot, they pull the slingshots out, and it's like it's a battle, but there's also a ton of comedy in it, and like
that was
it's
my
just
favorite
really well done.
sequence of the episode actually.
Yeah, he hits him with the pan, like.
Yeah, I thought the comedic bits
bond.
like were actually pretty good in that sequence. I think that sequence is a direct reference. I think I said it in the reaction to the like the Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
There's
like
even
Lord of the
nods
Rings,
to
like wolf orc attack scene.
There's
whatever
nods
those
to the
things are
Battle
called.
of Endor in there too, where they crush the one guy
If the
with the two
next-
pods. The way
There's
the
like
two
the
trees.
those are the one guy and the,
you know.
the wolf inside
If
the
the next
pod.
episode
That's funny.
doesn't happen, if the next episode doesn't have Ahsoka riding in on a horse and the light like shining down on her, just like Gandalf, then I
She
hate,
has to ride
I
in on
hate
a
the
howler.
series.
A
I
white
hope
howler.
they give Ezra the opportunity to do some like beast like tame ability stuff.
So I have a prediction, but we'll get into that.
I also want to highlight the fact that my second favorite part of the episode was when
Go for it.
when they find out that when Thrawn finds out that Ahsoka's master was Anakin, he was
yeah,
like,
that
oh,
No, that was
that's
really good
he was like, all
actually
right,
as
well, every plan I have
Pull
ever had is out the
everyone
window.
back.
We can see the
His
gear-
line
we
too,
can
where he
hear the
goes,
gears turn in his
"Where
head,
is
so.
Baylan's skull? Like where? Like he's like, oh, what is like this? I had my feelings about this guy, and he's off doing his
Yeah.
own damn shit. Like,
Yeah, I feel like
he's
there's-
kind of pissed about that.
There's you can see it on his face. Lars Mikkelsen is such a good actor.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
literally
And I
a
still
moment
think
of
that they are afraid of something that isn't Ezra,
It's-
like on
yeah.
that planet, and it's probably the same thing that Baylan is. I would imagine that is the same thing that
Julian
Baylan is
had a
going
point.
for.
Well, I like what she says, or what he says. He's like, "Who's her master?" And then he looks at it and he looks it up and he goes, "Oh." And there's literally just a moment of,
Not ideal.
"Oh fuck,
We have to-
we need to get the fuck out of here. We got to deal with the planet and we got to deal with Ezra, and now we have to deal with the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. Let's fuck out of here, please." Like he knows that if she gets a hold of him, like he's done for.
What I like though is like he's just like every plan. It's like when every time he fought Ezra, some cataclysmic shit happened, or is just like things that were out of his Bendu, the Purgle, and now it's like, okay, now Ahsoka's here. What kind of shit am I gonna get into now? And it's just like he's not prepared.
He's going to be more cautious than ever, realistically.
Well, you said it best. It's because he has such limited resources.
Yeah, like I said, because he has these limited resources. I'll just reiterate it quickly. That we almost get to see like instead of like the infinite resources of the Empire like backing him, he has to be very selective, do very like he has to go in like waves, call people back because too many of them will die. Like he has to be very smart about it. And I don't know if we've seen like his like actual care for the people under him, which he's kind of supposed to have. Like in like the stuff, I'm hoping we get something that alludes to that. Okay, that would be good. Which I think it kind of comes across with like him not just like throwing endless waves of stormtroopers until they die, which is the reg. It's a thing to do. Like to call them back to like retreat is not usual.
Yeah, that's not an Empire thing.
Well, that happened in one episode of Rebels when the Rebels like won the day, but Thrawn easily could have killed them, and he's like, "No, let them go because I've learned all I need to from this battle."
Right, and that's why he's that makes him such a well-developed bad guy.
Yeah.
He's not like just annihilate them every single time. He's like part
Thrawn's
of
a
what
great leader.
Part of what he does is just to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what manipulative evil people do, is they literally go out of they will prolong it as much as possible just because they think it's fun. Like, he thinks that this is fun and also knows, like, he's so smart and he's smart enough to know this.
Well, he actually does have some actual full belief in like the weird ideals of the Empire as well.
Yeah, and
plus it also kind of
he
defends
also just
the
goes,
Chiss as well.
he's just straight up
so.
because this is just not. It just ain't worth it. Let's just fuck off out of here. We'll deal with them later. You know what I mean? Because he knows that they're. I mean, even still, they're there. I think he has a little bit of fear of Ahsoka because of Anakin, but he still thinks that they're like small potatoes compared to him. Because in reality, like they are.
Three people versus his.
He's just trying to
army.
delay them from like actually interfering with him. And
Well,
what he's
I also-
he's just trying to get out.
well,
so
I
he
did
can,
see something
start
online.
whatever plan he has.
I saw something online. Like I wonder, like, does he really want to kill them, or does he just? He's just so focused on his bigger power thing that he's just like, they can live. I just don't want them fucking with what I have planned.
Well, they said like it's down to like a half a day now of getting resources on board, so
Oh yeah, he
they're
doesn't
ready
care
to
if
jump.
they live or die. He's just like, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Right.
Christian, last talking point.
Any predictions for the the finale?
I have a prediction.
Jack, you can. go first.
So we talked about this during the discussion of our YouTube video. I think that there's a very high likely possibility that Ezra and Sabine infiltrate the Chimera in clone trooper armor.
That would be awesome.
I think that would be a great callback to Rebels.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Ezra gets a new helmet. I also think
Forgets Enoch's helmet.
I also think that there's a very, very high possibility that they get stranded on the planet. Like Thrawn leaves, they lose. They're on the planet with no way back.
The episode 5 it.
But I do think that if they go up into the atmosphere with their cruiser that Hugh Yang's piloting currently, Ezra will be able to call Purrgil to take them home.
Well, didn't they have to use a specific frequency in Rebels?
Yes, they did.
I mean, maybe he's
But
a little bit
also,
more powerful now.
I think I would be slightly disappointed if they did that.
Why?
Because it would be the same ending as Rebels. I want them to do something different. Like, I would be interested to see, like, maybe they leave maybe, like, Thrawn leaves at the beginning of the episode. And the whole episode is, like, everybody in the New Republic's like, oh, shit. And so then, like, I wonder if maybe we'll get, like, some, like, the New Republic has to try to find a way to get them out of there. Because, like, they just don't.
Isn't that kind of the same thing as, like, what this season was? Like, they had to find a way to the other galaxy? I don't feel like anyone else should come to the new galaxy if
Yeah, I don't
we're
think this
going
galaxy
back.
is becoming this big new location that they're going to do a bunch of stuff in. A lot of people were theorizing that, but that doesn't seem to be what's actually.
Well, I
happening,
thought they were going to stay there.
like here.
I
Me
didn't
too.
think that they were going to bring him back. I thought they were going to go over there and
Do
stay
we even?
there.
We don't even actually have they even said like another galaxy is where this planet is, or is it just like have they specifically said that?
It's a new galaxy, yeah.
Is it not just like wild, like
No,
a
it's new
planet in
space.
wild
It's
space?
a new because
No, she says when the
they're-
map thing pops
yeah,
up,
when
she
the
goes,
map
they're
thing
going
pops
to a
up.
separate galaxy.
All right, well, fair
And
enough.
they talk about interstellar travel.
yeah.
Well, you can still interstellar travel. There are planets that technically do exist in like wild space that like not in an actual.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but they said that it was a new galaxy.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, I think what's going to happen. Now, I have two theories. I have they're going to get off the planet, similar like what you said, that they're going to go and Thrawn leaves at the beginning of the episode, and they go back and they're like the whole thing is going to be like a battle, and at the end of the episode, Thrawn gets away. Or what's going to happen is they're going to let Thrawn get away and focus on Baylan and what he's doing. And I don't think Baylan's actually going to die. I know the actors, Ray Stevenson's dead, but I don't think Baylan's going to die as much as he's going to, like, he'll disappear into the Force or something and they'll recast or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that. Like, they have not. His character, with one episode left. Here's what I think. With one episode left, they are building his character to be something that is way too large to just kill him off because the actor died. I feel like it would be something where they would build him up to be something and then they would leave it for a while until they could figure out a really smart way to write him out.
I would say like I'll say my point on that is then it feels like they're almost setting up like two completely like separate like major threats and then just like not providing answers to them like in the same finale. Like they're starting up the Thrawn threat, which we don't even know like if that's only going to be an Ahsoka thing. Like is Mando now going to pivot and going to be about that? Like is what is like what's the other show called? The kids one. Skeleton Crew. We don't know what that's really about yet. So we don't know. Like,
we don't know when that takes
and
place.
then
either.
and then we're
It takes
also
place in
going to
the
have a
beginning of the
simultaneous
area.
and then we're gonna have another No, that's the same time as it's Mando.
Is it?
Bob. Yeah, it is.
Oh.
I think it takes place in that pirate space that they made. Because there's multiple characters in
Oh,
Mando
yeah, you're
season
right.
3 that are the Vane guy who left is gonna take over that same ring from the Leaf dude.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And I think that's where Honda will show up as well because it's pirate space apparently now.
God, I would be so excited.
So I was thinking a simple, quote unquote, simple solution if we're going to pull like Dave does from Legends, and I want this. I don't know how many people want this. Is Ray goes off and does whatever he does, and he goes and he ages rapidly. Essentially, they're in a different galaxy, so we don't know how things work over there, what life's like, how the effects of the sun, etc.
I mean,
And that he becomes Master Saboth.
Like becomes nah.
Like when he comes back, it's a new character, it's a new person. He goes, "I'm this person now." It's not.
I don't think they would do that because the aging thing's automatically debunked because of.
I don't even think this character is like supposed to be like Sabayoth, if I'm being honest.
I
and much of the
don't think
character
he is. I'm thinking that's how they'll reshoot shift it.
No, but I don't. No, but I even think like we need some level of like Zaviot's character is like even like his craziness and like I know he's kind of crazy because he's a clone. He's like one of the reasons, but he's also crazy because like the actual fucking Jedi Master that they like cloned was also fucking psychotic and like was literally trying to like take a bunch of Jedi on like a random ass ship and be like, we're gonna just float into that wild space and see what happens.
We'll have to see because
I don't know.
That's the thing I really like about this show.
There really is no knowing.
The end of the episodes always leave you with like we could speculate all day, but they're really like okay. When we did the World Between Worlds episode and we saw Anakin, like we knew what was going to happen. We knew what was going to happen in the next episode. We were like, okay, we're at least going to see more of him and doing like World Between Worlds stuff because that's where she was. But with the rest of this, I mean, every single episode is like you can't really predict what's going to happen. Like I had no idea that Shin was going to go after them or none. Like you can't know.
And then she runs away.
I think it's really well done. So I guess we'll just have to guess. But that.
Hey, one last thing.
Oh yeah.
One more dumb idea theory.
Go for it.
My prediction is maybe the big bad is not as big bad as we think it is. Maybe the other big bad, why Ezra's not so worried, is because it's a potential ally. And Baylan really has been playing along because he sees the potential of this other entity that's there, which is why Ezra's been able to kind of survive as long as he has, is because maybe he has some type of alliance. The friend of my enemy, the enemy of my enemy.
Kind of like Bendu?
Friend. Like that type of thing. So maybe there's a Bendu-y type
that's
character
why...
there that Thrawn has tried to conquer but just can't. And he's just got to get the frick out of there, and the Night Sisters can't fight them. So it could be that Ezra's got kind of an easy alliance with that thing because it maybe is more. And
or it's not a threat to him because he's not like
to bring back the Jedi in his own thing.
Well,
that could be. I'm thinking that maybe this isn't a big scary thing because then it like brings the Christian's point is that how many friggin' we don't need like a Game of Thrones other bad guys when we've got enough other bad guys to worry
right.
about.
Well, that plays exactly into what I was saying, which is that I don't think Baylan is a bad guy. Like he's not. He is a good guy that is just doing bad things to get what he wants. Like
the mystical force that scares Thrawn could literally just be the Bendu, because he just dipped after the battle on.
Yeah, I guess there's nothing that
planet
says
they
that he
were on.
has to be linked to that.
Chopper base.
It would
Chopper
be
base.
really fucking cool to see.
So
why
I just had another idea too.
That's a long.
It could be the Bendu, and Thrawn could be so afraid of it because the last time that they were face to face, he literally just like wiped out their entire.
If it's
army.
Bendu
We
and
need
it's Tom
multiple
Baker,
Doctor
I will
Who.
literally shit my pants.
We need more Doctor Who voice actors. Like,
if I get Tom
already
Baker back,
one, we need two.
So
and he
here-
does who knows, and then or something stupid Doctor Who, then I will have I will shit my pants.
Here's my last theory, in regards to this. What if it's a Zepho versus Dathomirian war? The Zepho were on Dathomir. The Dathomirians came from a different planet. The writing style is the same.
Well, to be fair, the Zepho Temple on Dathomir isn't that because that was a specific dark side
Nexus,
lord?
yeah.
Like, no. There was Dathomir is a dark side nexus, but specifically
Zepho.
that temple that is there was a dark side. It was like the Sith Zepho, but a dark side wielder Zepho that kind of taught. There's an idea that maybe taught like some of its weird magics too. Like the Night Sisters there, because I think the Night Sister magic from this guy, like the green stuff, is probably like a different version of like an evolved version from something else that's a little bit more like pure and original.
I'm just saying it's a possibility.
No, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think that'd
Those
be
are two
really
ancient
cool. Or
cultures.
maybe it is. Maybe it's the only living Zepho. Like, there's a whole bunch of different things.
We are going to be getting a Jedi Prime movie. I'm just saying.
Well, I hope they maybe do some Zepho stuff in that. That'd be really cool. Anyway, let us know what
That
your
movie is
theories
never
are and what your predictions are. We'll be back here on Tuesday to watch episode 8, the finale of Ahsoka. We did manage to fill this entire episode. We were like, oh, we're not going to have enough material. We definitely had enough
Oh
material.
yeah, definitely. Thanks for the support as per usual on all the reaction videos and on the podcast.
Thank you guys. Seriously.
Like and subscribe if you're still listening at this point.
So, yeah.
What's your question of the day?
Question of the day.
Question of the day is I've been thinking about this. Question of the day, just predictions. how do you think that Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka will get off of this planet? Because we know how Thrawn's getting out of there. But what do you think? How do you think that Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine are gonna get out? Because I don't think they'll just do the Purgles thing again. So I wonder if they're gonna do something different. I want to know what you guys think. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Oh, real quick. Vote on the tattoos.
Oh, yes. Make sure you vote in the polls. Jordan's tattoo poll is up. You guys got us 5,000 followers on TikTok. You need to vote ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. The link to the poll is below.
Yeah,
So
it'll be in
if
comments.
the poll is going to be open
Actually, it'll be in the description.
until I sit down in the chair to get the tattoo.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
once I can afford the tattoo, which if you want to help contribute to the tattoo,
two tattoos.
well, we're going with this particular one, because the other one is going to be Jar Jar.
The Jar Jar. Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks
May
for
the force be
support.
with you. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you, BICBP.